समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
One of India's icons, A.R. Rahman, the man who gave us Jai Ho, but well before that, mainstreamed Vande Mataram with Ma Tujhe Salam, is now talking about how there might be a communal dimension to the fact that the work given to him by the film industry has reduced in the past few years. Rahman, speaking to BBC's Asia service, said that nothing had ever been said directly to him, but he heard this through Chinese whispers. Rahman's remarks have jolted the industry and triggered a storm. After all, the film industry remains an industry where it is often said that there is no discrimination on the basis of faith, and it is often pointed out that the three Khans continue to rule the box office and the hearts of millions and millions of Indians. How do we read the remarks made by Rahman to BBC? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. On the program today, A.R. Rahman is a beloved Indian icon. He's one of the most cherished musicians and songwriters and composers of our time. He's an Oscar winner. His songs often provide the score to some of India's biggest moments. His upcoming next work is, in fact, to provide the musical score for Ramayana. And yet today, Rahman, in an interview to BBC's Asia service, is talking about how there might be a communal dimension to the fact that the work to him has lessened over the last few years. Rahman did acknowledge that there's been a power shift in the industry, but he said that there were Chinese whispers about the fact that this could have something to do with his religion. Rahman is a practicing Muslim, one who wasn't born one, but embraced the faith. A.R. Rahman gave us Jai Ho, he gave us Vande Mataram, he gave us so many scores that it's impossible to list all of them. If anything, Rahman's story has been the story of India. How do we now understand the comments that he's making? They have, of course, as expected, triggered a veritable storm. I want to introduce our guest today on the program as we look at the comments that he made. Kushal Mehra, podcast host, analyst, is with us. Welcome, Kushal, to the program. Also joining us is historian and professor Irfan Habib. Welcome, sir, to the program. And also joining us is Raja Sen. Raja is, of course, a movie critic, a screenwriter, and a writer, and now also a podcast host. Welcome, all three of you, to the program. Let me start by playing this clip with courtesy to BBC's Asia service about what Rahman actually said for anybody who may have missed it. Take a look.
Past 8 years, maybe, because the power shift has happened. You know, people who are not creative have the power now to decide things. And might have been a communal thing also, but not in my face. But I hear, like Chinese whispers that this happened and they booked you and the other company, the music company, went and funded the movie and got their 5 composers. And I said, oh, that's great. Rest for me.
You've said you're very proud of the soundtrack of Chhaava, and it is a really good soundtrack, but it is a divisive film.
It is.
I watched it. I'll be really honest with you.
It is divisive. I think it cashed on divisiveness, but I think the core of it is to show the bravery, because the director, I told him, like, why do you need me for this? He said, we need only you for this. So I think it had and it is an enjoyable finish, but definitely I think people are smarter than that.
All right, that was with courtesy to BBC's Asia service. Those comments now are viral. Let's get comments. I'll start with you, Raja. You're in the industry, unlike all of us. You're a part of the movie industry. How did you read those remarks? Were you shocked by them? Were you stunned by them? Why do you think Rahman made the remarks that he did?
Well, I think, we have to take Rahman very seriously. He's had a long career. He's been, as you said, an icon within the industry. and he has been emblematic of a lot of the secularism that the industry stands for. If he sees that something is shifting, or if he even senses that, like you said, you alluded to Chinese whispers, but even if he senses that, then there is something to worry about. And when he mentions the film Chhaava and he speaks about how people, filmmakers today might be cashing in on divisiveness, I think he has a point there. There is a certain kind of cinema being made today. And I wouldn't like to take names because it's not my story to tell, but I have friends in the industry, other performers, and right now they're all kind of being pigeonholed. Uh, Good actors, Muslim actors are being offered incredibly nefarious, villainous parts. I'm not talking about the big three. The big three can choose what they want to do, but I think the other actors who have to wait for the parts to come to them are getting a lot of scripts with a lot of communal disharmony within them. So I think that I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss as whatever Mr. Rahman has to say.
Just one follow up to that, Raja, before I go to the others. One
Sure.
is he has every right to say he found Chhaava divisive. Though, by the way, if you hear the whole interview, he also goes on to say that it was an honor for him to score the music for such a film. So, a lot of people might say, if you have such a problem with the ideological bent of a movie, why did you agree to do it? Point one. The second thing would be he never actually comes out and says, I'm Muslim, so I'm being discriminated against. He actually says nobody has said anything to me directly ever. It comes to me through Chinese whispers, and he simultaneously also acknowledges a power shift in the industry. Now, all of us know from our own creative spaces that we all have ups and downs in our careers. There are times when our form of storytelling, our ways of thinking have a larger audience, and sometimes they don't. That's the nature of particularly the creative world. To those who might say Rahman is making a ex post facto excuse for maybe there not being enough takers. Some might say that. You would have seen those comments for his kind of music making. What would you say?
Rahman, I feel
Ra-
like he has. I feel because it's A.R. Rahman, he has nothing to prove here. I mean, he has had a long and distinguished career. He's been incredibly successful. And every now and then he'll still throw up a soundtrack that people will clamor about. So I don't think he really needs to make excuses for his career or for a certain slump that one may see from the outside. And yes, you're right. The industry is going through a slump itself right now. There is a significant lack of success within the films. The big tentpole films don't seem to know how to work anymore, which were the films that were allowing all the other films to get made. So it's a tricky time for everybody. But within that time, if this is one thing that stands out, I don't think he would say it unthinkingly. And clearly, this is something that he believes or something that he even considers plausible. So I think it's worth us introspecting about it. We may agree or disagree, but I don't think he needs to make excuses for his work.
Okay, let me bring in Kushal at this point. I think what Raja is saying is that if we embrace the Rahman, that frankly, without Rahman, there would be no mainstreaming of Vande Mataram as a contemporary icon. We know every time you hear the Vande Mataram go up, India wins a cricket match, or any other moments of celebration. This is Rahman's sort of a gift to us. Raja Sen says Rahman has nothing to prove, nothing left to prove. If he's saying this, you've got to take him seriously. Do you take him seriously, Kushal?
I celebrity seriously. I think the problem with celebrities is they, uh, this is the classic case of the halo effect, right? Uh, I don't like to. I'm not going to go to a historian for quantum mechanics analysis. I'm not going to go to a music director for political commentary. A political commentator does political commentary. Now, whether Rahman feels internally victimized or not, that's none of my business. He can feel victimized for eons to come. Like, I'm not going to go around doing that. As far as I'm concerned, is I look at these things from a market perspective, right? I mean, in the 90s, growing up, I remember Kumar Sanu or Udit Narayan and all these folks, they, Alka Yagnik, they used to sing a lot of songs. Now, today, they're very much alive, but nobody wants to listen to them. What are they being victimized now? I don't buy this beyond a point. Like, are we trying to say A.R. Rahman is a victim? Really? Like, are we trying to say A.R. Rahman, after so much success, is really a victim? Let's get real. Like, okay, fine, he feels like that. I can't change how he feels. But like, what, tomorrow I am a disbeliever, I don't believe in any religion. I don't believe in a god. Like, I play a victim card. What? Anybody is going to buy it? So it's like, I don't understand. The problem is the global currency has become victimhood epistemology. So, in this victimhood epistemology, this entire poker game that everybody plays nowadays, we have all sorts of victimhood. In America, white people are victims. In India, upper castes are victims. Everybody is a victim everywhere now. So, आजकल यही मार्केट में चल रहा है. आई थिंक वी शुड मेक अ मूवी एंड अ साउंड ट्रैक ऑन विक्टिमहुड एपिस्टेमोलॉजी. कौन कितना बड़ा विक्टिम है, and then maybe Bhojpuri cinema will come up with like Hum Victim Ba. That is the last song that will come.
So are you basically saying that just like Alka Yagnik, Kumar Sanu have faded from today's headlines, there is a market response, right? And you can't explain the market by invoking your faith. That's what you're saying, Kushal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hasn't he been hired for, he's been hired for Ramayana. Imagine if his communal identity is a problem, why the heck would anyone hire him for Ramayana of all the things? Clearly, his communal identity doesn't seem to be a problem in probably India's quintessential epic, Ramayana. It's clearly his identity, his religion is not a problem. I never cared about his religious identity. Like, for me, I don't understand again, I take it back to, disproportionately famous people. Like tomorrow, Virat Kohli says something about something. उसको मालूम होगा कि नहीं होगा, उसने बोल दिया तो उसके बारे में सारी दुनिया चर्चा करती रहेगी क्योंकि वो विराट कोहली है. It has nothing to do with Virat Kohli's core competence or anything on that subject. Like, and tomorrow Virat Kohli can say, I feel victimized. वो भी बोल दे वो victimized है. So हर आदमी victim है. I see, and beyond a point, why are we punishing the viewer for all of this? Like, if he makes good music today, let's say A.R Rahman can come up with his own title tracks, right? I'll give you an example. He created an amazing title track for Coke Studio where there was a Buddhist chant in the beginning. I don't know how many of you have heard it. I loved that song. Now, A.R Rahman can come up with bangers even now. He has so many resources. He can do private music. He can put it up on Spotify. There are so many options. Like, why? Like, I don't understand at this point of time why.
Okay, let me bring in, I know, Raja, I could see you shaking your head in disagreement, but let me get Professor Irfan Habib. I think it's a very important example, Professor Habib, that Kushal gave about Rahman's next project. Ironically, his interview to BBC was in the context of that next project, which is a Ramayana, made by a Hindu, music scored by a Muslim in collaboration with Hans Zimmer, a Jewish person. So that is, in a way, the sort of beauty of creativity, that it should not recognize or differentiate, even if it recognizes, it should not discriminate, let me choose my words carefully, on the basis of anybody's religious identity, right? That is the power of good art. That is the power of good art. Now, it depends on how you look at this issue. How do you look at it, Professor Habib?
No, I agree with Kushal to a great extent, because this is what I was planning to begin with, that there are lots of artists, singers who have disappeared when they were at their prime. Like Udit Naran, we would love to listen to him even now, but he's not around, and there are so many names he just took. So it happens. Now, most of these artists are busy with their concerts all over the world. They travel around and people still listen to them. Film industry has ignored them because others have come in. So this is something which keeps happening. Now, when we listen to Rahman, this interview, this remark was also made, I think, not very seriously by him, if you look at it. He said maybe that may also be one of the reasons. So he was not really serious about that. So he said so many other things besides that. I don't know whether he should have said it at all. He as Kushal just pointed out, he's one of those iconic musicians, artists even now, and he can do so many things, contribute, and people are still there to enjoy what he does. But the remark which was made in the context of what is happening in the country today. And that is something which he tried to hint at. There are lots of issues people are facing. and the country is facing, the
but
politics has
Professor
changed.
Habib,
Yeah.
he could have made that remark in precisely that language if that's what he believed. For
Yeah, he
instance,
should have.
for
Yeah.
instance, let me give you an analogy. I was interviewing Fareed Zakaria, and I asked Fareed Zakaria, as an Indian American, do you face any blowback in America, or are you too, into elite a circle to experience what others may? And he immediately said, personally, I experienced nothing. I live on the East
Absolutely.
Coast. The kind of people I meet, I face no discrimination. But I do observe. And he went on to say what he felt about what the Indian American community was going through. So if you believe that Rahman was wanting to make a comment about the state of religious minorities as he perceived them, he could have chosen those words. No?
Yeah. I agree with you. Actually, I say it several times that when these issues are raised, and I speak about them on so many occasions in different places, and I say that people like me are privileged. We are not part of the politics which is happening at the ground. There are people who are vulnerable who are facing these issues. There are Dalits, there are minorities. There are minorities not alone, but there are weaker sections who are facing discrimination at different level. Even their life and their livelihood is in danger. So these things are happening. But Rahman is not in that category at all. He's one of those privileged people, and for him, religion is not so important. He's an artist who can perform, who can do miracles, and he has done it, and he can do it even now. So I don't know why this remark came from him. It shouldn't have come. It is unfortunate. Because or if he had to make it, then he should have actually made it in a different context. If he was going to make a political statement, I'm not averse to these important people making their views public. We should do it, but do it in that context, not in the industry.
I think that's
not in the industry. Yeah.
I think, Professor Habib, you've made a really important point, and I want to take that to Raja. I think what Professor Habib is saying is that when you make a comment as serious as this, and it is a serious comment, you're making it to a well-established global platform, right? You know that it's going to be picked up. You know it's going to be taken seriously. You say it then with the granularity, perhaps, that the issue deserves. And what Professor Habib is saying is he refuses to believe it's about Rahman personally. He thinks Rahman maybe was trying to make a comment on the state of minorities in India according to how he perceives it. But then he should have said it that way. Or he should have said nothing. What do you say, Raja? And also you wanted to respond to Kushal, so do go ahead.
Right. Just to start with, this is talk about why he would be hired to do Ramayan when he's a Muslim artist and all of that. And I think
not why he'd be hired. That there is no discrimination and his working on Ramayan.
But it's simply, Barkha, he would be taken on board a Ramayan because they're trying to get the best and biggest. The whole idea of that film, however it's trying to market itself, however it's trying to position itself, is about trying to get the best and biggest in the world. So it needs the Rahman brand more than Rahman needs it, technically. Let's be honest about that. So that's why he's doing that. The other thing is about why we should listen to celebrities on other subjects. Is it relevant? I think when an interview, when a celebrity is talking about his own lived experience, then it is relevant toward that interview. If you're not interested in celebrity interviews, don't watch it, Kushal. But the point is that he is talking about what he's faced, and I feel like if he were to, Irfan Sahab, if he were to make a comment about India as a whole, he would have done it differently. He should have done it differently. All of that, I think we can all agree. But I don't think he was trying to do that. I personally feel that he has faced something. There are certain niggles. And I am telling you, again, I tell you apocryphally, but from my friends in the minorities working within the film industry, everyone is facing a certain level of hardship that they have not. I have been in this industry for 20 plus years, Barkha. I have not seen a certain opposition, a certain kind of cinema stop being made, a certain kind of cinema only being the cinema that is being offered to people. So there is a lot that's going on, and the climate is divisive. So if he wanted to comment about that,
Sorry, just a brief follow-up on that before Kushal and Professor Habib come back. You can make the point certainly that the kind of cinema being made is different. And Kushal might argue again that everybody responds to market. The industry is sort of lost and confused also about what's working, what's not working, etc. But that's not the same as saying that if you are a minority today, you will not you will not get work, or you will get less work, particularly when the big three are seen to be ruling the box office, when Shah Rukh Khan is the most beloved hero of the industry, when Amir's experiments at the box office still manage to do well, whether it's on special needs children, or let's see how this film of his does. How do you address that contradiction, Raja?
See, I think even the big three don't have as clear a path as they used to. I think there is a problem. I think a few years ago, I mean, we have to look at these things in context to what has been said before. And a few years ago, when Amir Khan said that he thought that there was a tide of intolerance in this country, we saw a massive backlash. We saw him being dropped from the brands he was endorsing. We saw him being trolled royally for years. It hurt his box office as well. Yes, certain films did do well, but he is not at all the star that he used to be anymore. And so I think, yes, the big three, there is a level of insulation simply because they are as iconic as they are. So people do consider them exempt from the discrimination that others may face. But at some point, I'm just saying, forget it being a blanket statement. If A.R. Rahman, is not saying that this is what's happening to everybody, but if he personally believes that this is what may be happening to him, and there could be conspiracy theories, there could be false information that's gone his way, but it's a relevant perspective from him. That's all I'm saying. That if he thinks it's happened, that's all he's saying. He thinks, I have heard that this may be what is happening. And I don't think we should argue with that, fundamentally.
Oh, okay, so Kushal, I want you to respond to that. How do you argue with somebody's lived experience? If he's somebody you basically respect, and he's been a big part of our subculture, why would you quarrel with his lived experience? Actually, the interviewer's follow-up could have been, what do you mean there might be a communal dimension? Can you explain? That follow-up in that conversation was missing, or at least I missed it. What do you say, Kushal?
No, first of all, I don't expect that interviewer to do anything. Go check who the interviewer is. To go check what the channel is. There is actually umpteen research now, peer-reviewed research, that shows BBC's coverage of India is actually grossly negative, and this is not me pulling something out of my ass. This is actually.
I know, but he wasn't putting any words in his interviewee's mouth. The interviewee had every space, had all the space, irrespective of who the interviewer or the platform may be. It is the interviewee's choice to make this comment. So we've got to focus on the interviewee, is the point I'm making. Yeah.
I agree. Now, point number 2 to Raja. I don't watch celebrity interviews. I don't take them seriously. I actually believe in expertise. I will not listen to a celebrity on political or social commentary. Unko apni internally, they can also believe the earth is flat. I know many MMA fighters, who have been punched so many times in the earth, they think the earth is flat. They also are equally entitled to think the earth is flat, Raja. That is not a problem. But the earth doesn't start becoming flat. That is my answer. The difference is, flat earthers can believe whatever they want to believe. See, महाभारत के डायलॉग किसने लिखे थे? जो ओरिजिनल महाभारत हम सब ने देखी थी, उसके डायलॉग किसने लिखे थे? वो एक मुस्लिम था. मुझे तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं उससे. मैं बोल रहा हूँ, आज भी अगर कोई मुसलमान करे, कोई मुझे व्हेन आई एम वाचिंग सिनेमा, यार मुझे तो ये समझ में नहीं आता, लोग इतना एफर्ट करते हैं क्या? अरे भाई, मैंने लास्ट टाइम भी बोला था, ये धुरंधर की डिबेट पे आई वाज एट अ चैनल. मैंने बोला था, एक तो भाई मैं 500,000 रुपए का खर्चा करके उधर जा रहा हूँ, फिर मैं पिक्चर देख रहा हूँ. तुम मेरे से कितनी उम्मीद रखते हो यार एज अ व्यूअर, कि मैं बैठ के उसकी जात, उसका रिलीजन, उसका ये, उसका वो सब मैं चेक करूं? भाई तू मेरे 1200 रुपए मेरा नींबू निचोड़ लेगा क्या? मेरे को पिक्चर देखने देना भाई. You see, this what has happened is, again, everything now is around this entire, oh, I am so victimized. Arey bhai, everybody is victimized. Wo Arjit Singh, he is also sidelined. He is now a Spotify concert guy. Yaar, he completely changed his career trajectory. I mean, next चलो अरिजीत सिंह भी आ जाएगा. वो बोलेगा कि मेरा नेम A से स्टार्ट होता है. There is a A से स्टार्ट होने वाले, A से स्टार्ट होने वाले नामों के against discrimination. That is my lived reality. All the Arjits of the world, there will be a Arjit sulking club. यार, there is no end to this. कल को कोई और मेरी अपनी lived reality बोल देगा. There is no objective way to control how people feel. But I'm sorry, I don't buy it. A.R Rahman is victimized in this life. यार, उसकी success देखो. And if tomorrow, simple Occam's razor नहीं है. Maybe people are not interested in his work. Like, I like his work. So what?
Yeah.
Others don't. Big deal, yeah.
Yeah. So, Professor Habib, I want you to come in because you have a very nuanced third perspective, which is that, maybe he was trying to make a larger point and he made it in a clumsy way, or you don't know why he said what he did. And, my colleague is just reminding me of Sahil Ludhianvi's words, "Tu Hindu banega na Musliman banega, insan ki aulad hai, insan banega." Right? And the point is, again, I'll come back to, in a way, what Kushal is saying, and Raja will, I'm sure, agree with this, is that the whole point of art, the whole point of the creative energy is that it's supposed to transcend fault lines. Great art is meant to transcend fault lines that pull us down otherwise. And therefore, some people have drawn a parallel with Muhammad Azharuddin. I've seen some commentary saying it's a different, again, it's apples to oranges, but then when Azharuddin career took a hit, he also evidently invoked faith. Now, that is how some people are saying it. Again, I don't see Rahman sullied. I don't see Rahman not getting work. I just see Rahman in a different market, a market that has changed. Somebody like me, as a journalist, faces the reality of a changed market every day. Every day we are dealing with the fact that people respond more to content creators who know nothing about news or who may not, than us who are telling it in some over sincere way. And the lesson to us is either we find our own audience or we learn new forms of storytelling. यही तो दो ऑप्शंस है. आई कांट से हाय मैं बेचारी, मैं इतनी अच्छी जर्नलिस्ट हूं, मेरे को क्यों नहीं देखते लोग? प्रोफेसर हबीब.
No, I agree with you. The point is what Kushal was trying to say. You see, I agree that Rahman shouldn't have gone to that extent by victimizing himself and talking that way. BBC, in any case, is an important platform for decades, for years. So we shouldn't run them down. They have been doing lots of stories which we don't agree with. Some stories are really remarkable. And here, it was a question raised by like the issue brought up by Rahman himself. So we can't even blame BBC here. Anyway, I'm not speaking for them. The point is, when he's talking about this discrimination, I repeat that what is happening today in the country at different levels, those issues we need to raise. Lots of celebrities from the Bollywood are partisan. They are taking positions. Some are with the divisive politics. Some are with the compositeness of India, and people look up to them that they should speak. And because they are influencers, what they say is taken seriously by people. Not that they are actually a part of that politics. They are not, but they are people who influence people's views, people's lives, thinking, etc. So if Rahman wanted to do that and wanted to make a comment on what is happening in India, then not about himself, because I don't think that he is a victim at all, or he can be a victim, or anybody can victimize him. He's too big for that, So that he shouldn't do. If he wants to make a comment about what is happening in the country. If he at all wants it, there's no compulsion for him to do even that. There are other people who are doing it.
I actually think you make a very important point, and I have to start taking closing comments. So to Raja first and then Kushal. I think Habib, Irfan Saab is saying, आपको एक issue, political issue पे बोलना है वो या socio-religious issue पे बोलना है, that is your right. It is anybody's right. You're an Indian. It is your right to make a comment on the state of the country as you see it. But then you don't personalize it and make it about yourself, because actually you're highly loved, cherished, respected, and you're also elite. It would be now that doesn't mean you can't, okay, I'm a privileged woman. It doesn't mean I don't face any gender discrimination. I recognize that people of privilege can also experience, but then they have to be very granular about their example. It is too vaguely worded is the only point I am making, Raja, for us to understand what he possibly meant before we can disagree or agree.
Right. I think, Barkha, with the climate the way it is, I think the vague wording is pretty much the best one can do. I mean, I understand. I mean, Irfan sir said something very lovely, saying that there are a lot of celebrities on the divisive side and a lot of celebrities standing for a more united side. And I don't really see that. I don't really see very many Hindi film celebrities openly going against the divisive politics right now. And Kushal said something about how people with, the trivialization of the of the issue of like how people, Arijit Singh might say people with a name like A are being discriminated against. But I don't think people with a name starting with A have had pogroms against them or have the government going after them. And when you speak about how there are incompetent influencers doing news today, or influencers who are not trained in news, that's also because the primary news services, as you can recognize, have been turned into something a lot more divisive, a lot more sinister, a lot
But
more
the market
insidious.
has also changed. But the market has also changed.
Agreed.
Technology has also changed. Consumption patterns have also changed. I'm not a fan of TV news at all. However, I'm not necessarily a fan of what passes for independent content on digital platforms either. It's my training. I was trained in a certain way. They may or may not be takers for that today. I have two options. I either sit and feel very sorry for myself in some Sunset Boulevard way, or I say, come on, get on with it. Either learn new forms of storytelling, new forms of technology that don't compromise your ethics and your principles, right? Or find your own audience. Today, the beauty is that you can go to your own audience. It may not be massy, it may not be large scale, millions of people, but you'll always still have people who are interested in what you do if you do it well. Don't you agree, Raja?
100%, Barkha. But I don't think that's the problem. I don't think A.R. Rahman has trouble selling out concerts. He was on tour just a few weeks ago and he performed to very, very large crowds. So I don't think it's like he's getting less work. I think comparing him to any has-beens from the 90s is not the point. The point is he decided to say something which, as you rightly pointed out, was coming from him. And while I agree with Irfan sir that if he wanted to say something about the state of the country, he could have done a lot more potent, he could have taken a much more potent stand, but he didn't do that. But I'm saying even if he moved the bottle cap a few centimeters, it's a difference. He's trying to at least get a conversation going. We're all standing around talking about it right now, and we weren't doing that yesterday. And I think that it's fine. That's fair game. I mean, he can do what he can do, and I think it's good to say that. All right, he's seeing something around him. He's seeing. I can tell you that the industry is changing. He's telling you that the industry is changing. Maybe you should take one of our words for it.
No, I'm not disputing that the industry is changing. That's not the part I'm disagreeing with. I'm just saying everything is changing. Everything is in flux and everything is changing the world over. And there's a lot to do with it. This politics is changing, consumption patterns are changing, technology is changing, ownership is changing. So much is changing all at once, and it's happening everywhere. That's the only point I was making, that everything is changing. Kushal, a last word to you, please. Kushal, go ahead.
या इट्स रादर अ नाइव अजम्पशन कि जैसे 2014 के पहले है ना, हम लोग सब अपनी उंगलियां पकड़ के ऐसे है ना, ऐसे डांस करते थे हम लोग यूं, बस मुझे जो बोलना था मैं बोलता था, बरखा को कभी प्रेशर नहीं हुआ उसके पहले। यार बरखा, मैं सिर्फ तुम्हारे शो पे ही बोल रहा हूँ, हर आदमी को कॉल आते हैं, तुम्हें भी आए हुए हैं, हम मुझे भी कॉल आए हुए हैं।
मैं तो no politician is a votary or supporter of free speech or absolute creativity. I was saying this on another program in a different context, but go ahead. Yeah.
So यहाँ पे ये कैसा होता है अलमें कि हर आदमी है ना, human beings are always going to have preferences and biases. See, the beauty of being a human being is doing A-level mental gymnastics to somehow find some way of finding, ना ये एरा में है ना बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, पहले मेरे वाले एरा में नहीं भाई, वो वाले एरा में तुझे प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती थी क्योंकि तेरे वाला आदमी था, ये वाले एरा में बेसिकली बंदा चेंज हो गया। जैसे ये कभी कोई बोल देगा गोदी मीडिया, ना भाई, मीडिया गोदी हमेशा थी, सिर्फ गोदी बदल गई। मीडिया हमेशा गोदी थी, गोदी बदल गई। अभी वो गोदी बदलने से कुछ नहीं होता। अभी मेरे जैसा आदमी है, मुझे क्या लेना देना, मेरे को जिसको पेलना है मैं पेलता हूँ। बंद कर दो चैनल, बंद कर देंगे। मेरा तो घर इन चीजों से चलता है नहीं, मेरा तो घर मेरी इन्वेस्टमेंट से चलता है। सर ठीक है, जिसको जो करना है करो। बाकी यार सेलिब्रिटीज को मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि सेलिब्रिटीज हैव नो राइट टू से एनीथिंग, बट इफ यू आर वोटिंग ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सम सेलिब्रिटी टेलिंग यू व्हाट टू डू विथ योर लाइफ, देन बॉस प्लीज, मैं किसी सेलिब्रिटी को, कल को है ना कि अक्षय कुमार ने मोदी जी का इंटरव्यू लिया, इसके लिए मैं बहुत इंप्रेस हो गया। आप सर आम पसंद है आपको, भाई मेरे को क्या करना है मोदी जी को आम पसंद है कि नहीं है, उससे मेरे को ये देखना है कि मोदी जी की पॉलिसीज क्या है और मैं उसको एज एन इंटेलिजेंट पर्सन उसको गेज करूंगा। वी नीड टू बी स्टॉप बीइंग कॉन्डेसेंडिंग यार। आई थिंक सेलिब्रिटीज टेक देमसेल्व्स टू सीरियसली। बस मैं तो अपने आप को इतना सीरियस नहीं लेता हूँ कि मेरी वजह से कोई इंप्रेस हो जाएगा। Right, celebrities को अपने आप को
I think Professor Habib has an interjection. Professor Habib, yes.
I don't agree with what Kushal just said कि गोदी मीडिया जो है वो पहले भी गोदी मीडिया था। हमने भी देखा है. I have participated in so many debates, and Barkha has been part of it. Why so many people are out of it? Why people have stopped watching television in large numbers? Which means that you don't go there for news anymore. No, there is only one story happening for the last 10 years. So that has radically changed. So we should not really close our eyes and just say that nothing has changed and it was happening like this even earlier. It's not true at all. And
Okay.
Sorry. Just a moment. When I'm talking of influencing, I'm not saying that people like Kushal will be influenced or people like me will be influenced. There are people, the masses, huge number of people who actually look up to these people. I don't look up to them. No? So it is done for them, not for me or not for Kushal. No?
Okay.
So point is, that is happening. We should not close our eyes to that.
Okay, I do have to close, but I can see Kushal waving furiously. So quickly complete your point. Yes.
We should stop being condescending to the average person and their overall intelligence. The average person, as someone who's actually done ground research, मैं rural areas में जाता हूँ, मैं अभी भी जाता हूँ. My last year was traveling 1200 kilometers in rural Punjab, and I can tell you, हमारे यहाँ पे हाँ करप्शन है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई एम जस्ट यूजिंग दिस एज एन एनालॉजी. आप अभी मुंबई में बीएमसी इलेक्शन हो, आप जाओ झोपड़े में, मैं तो बहुत बार गया हूँ, तो वो लोग बोलेंगे हाँ इससे भी लिया 5000, उससे भी लिया 5000, उससे भी लिया 5000. बाद में जिसको वोट करने का किया. इतना भी बेवकूफ नहीं होता आदमी की किसी ने शाहरुख खान ने बोल दिया और वो कन्विंस हो गया. यार इतने बेवकूफ नहीं है लोगों को अकल है, उनकी लिव्ड रियलिटी होती है. हमें इतना कॉन्डेसेंडिंग नहीं होना चाहिए एक एवरेज इंसान के प्रति कि भाई मैं ही अकेला सयाना, तू तो बेवकूफ है. ऐसे नहीं होता बॉस, ऐसे नहीं होता.
Okay, leaving it there with a lot of agreeing to disagreeing among all three of our guests, which I think is how conversations should be. I would have liked to hear more from Rahman. I really would have wanted to hear more from Rahman on what he meant, because, a kind of allusion, a veiled sort of comment, I think creates a lot of confusion about what he was trying to say. Raja says the film industry has changed. I would say everything has changed and is changing globally, not just in India. You live in an age where technology powers discourse and also changes content consumption and creation. And that's just the brave new world that we live in. We may like it, we may hate it. We've got to adapt to it with all the authenticity that we can muster up. And that's all I will say in the end. Thank you very much, Kushal, Raja and Irfan Saab. Always a pleasure. Everybody else, have a great weekend. Thank you and see you soon. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.